Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know, on with the show.
Boop, 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 boop.
Ding ding dong, bing 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 bing. No, I can't figure out the. I don't remember what ad that was for even, like Yahoo
Yeah, that was
or
like
hotels.com
yeah,
or some
something
shit.
like that. Yeah,
But that's why it was in my head because of the
yeah.
yodeler or whatever she is.
I holler this. This song is called "My Love Is Somewhere Waiting for Me," and I like to holler it.
It's good. You can't.
No, it's not. It's what's hilarious is how like
How poetic the title is compared to
right,
the...
yeah, compared to the sort of.
Yeah, I love
but
that shit.
the thing is like, like, me thinking I'm being normal.
Yeah, right.
And that's mostly what I relate to because I'm like, yeah, that's it, yeah. I like to holler it. Also, like this weird, you can tell. Well, I shouldn't say you can tell, but there's this like.
I haven't taken my medication.
You go do that. There's a particular Southern young person type of I don't want to say behavior. I don't know how to quite describe it. It's like people who have been trained since they were toddlers to perform in church.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have this like sort of affectation of like
Oh, yeah.
a microphone being shoved in their face and they're just like, okay, well now I'm going to sing this song for you. It's like they don't really know how to behave other than to perform. But like that specific sort of like, like here's a song for you, or like here, like it's not like they're putting on a personality. They literally are just like the only thing they've ever been asked to do is to sing. So
Right.
like if it's not singing, they're like, this is the only way I know how to socialize is to like sing in front of a crowd of people. Like, could someone give me a guitar or something? I just need to, like, they don't have like, it's kind of fascinating because people will talk about how homeschooled.
IRGC. It's an attack from Iran.
True. People will sort of talk about how homeschooled kids have like no, like they're like very socially inept, which I always loved hearing that. But it's really like the church kids are more so because they don't like the way they dress, the way it's very like kind of mortifying. Like I wouldn't want to put a kid that grew up performing at revivals at church in a public school ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, now I think it's different, but like up until at least the 90s, that was like you didn't really interact with anybody except for like church adults.
Oh, I'm sure there's still those pockets.
Probably, but I mean like it's because of the internet and because of like mainstreaming and how much more likely people are to connect with someone online than they are to go to a church tent.
Oh, I see.
It's going to be a little bit of a different. Yeah.
And your parents are doing that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The parents are going to be more likely to be on social media at this point. Like, because they're going to. Because if you're in church and you have a teenager kid, that means you probably
Oh.
started having kids
As a teen.
as a, at the oldest 20, which would be like 2005.
20.
No, 2010. You'd have a 15-year-old kid. If you had, oh God, ew.
Yep.
Oh God, fuck. Anyway, speaking of totally normal
I
things.
think living through the turn of a fucking century,
Yeah.
much less a millennium,
Yeah,
really fucks.
yeah. It's,
I mean, I'm sure everyone experiences some degree of like, what is time?
yeah, yeah.
But for me,
Right.
that's the real like mind breaking thing is like
Right.
how much of my life has happened post 1999.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Yeah. Same.
Anyway,
I mean, most of my life has happened post getting together. Well, honestly, post moving here. But like, it really wasn't until you and I got together that I like did things. And
Oh.
that was like, I know. And that's like shocking. And it always feels. Sorry. Crazy people. Yeah, I didn't hate this. I didn't hate this.
darn it.
Yeah, so Keith didn't enjoy the experience as much. I actually thought it was really interesting in a lot of ways. Like there were a
It's
lot
got
of
some
things,
interesting moments
Yeah,
that I did not remember.
like I don't think it's that funny. It's
No.
not that funny of a movie.
No, not really.
But I don't think it's I do think that there is. It's a very interesting thing. This is sort of what I was talking about when you in the lobby.
Uh-huh.
There's like a weird sort of nostalgia that I feel for stuff like that because I'm like, what would it be like to try to make it in a market like that with the knowledge that I have today? Because like marketing and things like that, like people used to go to school and college to be able to like make things like
Right.
that. And not to say that they
You mean
still
like
do.
this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. Like marketing. I'm talking about marketing.
Oh,
You're
I see.
like-
Okay, sorry.
This
I
is
couldn't
why
tell.
you have to be listening to me.
I was listening. Oh my god. Ooh, don't.
I could see you typing on your phone.
I'm not type.
I could. I didn't say you aren't right now.
I've only used my thumb.
Yeah, you could. You could still type with a thumb. That's how you type on a phone.
I wasn't typing.
Okay. Anyway, so my point being
Yes.
that like fucking asshole. My point being that like marketing used to be a thing that people sort of didn't it was like a thing that you had to like you didn't just magically
Yeah.
get hired in marketing. And it's the same now. Like now it's, like
Girl.
there's like a completely different, it's like vastly more complicated now. But like when you think about things in the way, they would just like a lot of the things that they were going to school for and that they were getting like education on wasn't like how to market to people as much as it was how to graphic design. And that's a lot of what marketing was. Like you had to make something that looked appealing. You had to be able to create a campaign ad. You had to be able to make something enticing, and you had to be able to like piece things together and make it look good. Which is why when they're presenting all these things, they're presenting like full, like they're presenting the ads.
Right.
Because you used to be able, I mean, sometimes you would get like a picture and they'd be like, you have to make something from
Yeah,
this. But like you'd have to be able to like have specific like logos and letters and things like that. And you,
Oh yeah,
back
but I think it was
then-
all siloed, right? Like there's the art department, the graphic department, and then there's the guys who write the copy.
Right,
or
but you have to
design
be
a
able,
whole campaign.
Right. But what I'm saying is like you had to have a knowledge of,
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying like the people who were coming up with the slogans were literally just like, what about I like this car?
Right.
It was more than that, which you
Gotcha.
know what I mean. And it still sort of is now, but like now a lot of marketing has to do with like how quick something is as opposed to like how to make it more enticing. It's like how like everything is about quickness now. Like people don't want to advertise longevity. People don't want to advertise something lasting. People want to advertise you can get this immediately or this will change something immediately. Whatever. I just mean like it's just like what he's talking about is like we just lie to people all the time, and that's what's like creating this like sort of crisis in his head. That's only gotten worse.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And that's only created like it's only gotten more capitalistic and crazy. So I'm like, man, what must it have been like to do this back then?
Yes.
Like with all the knowledge I have of like marketing and how sort of horrendous it can be.
Yeah.
Like what must it have been like in like 1989?
What if John Lennon never died and the Beatles never happened?
Shut up.
Remember that movie?
I remember it existed. I love when you reference stuff and you're like, remember this? Like we've ever watched it or seen it.
That's all I mean is remember this existing. Existed.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're mad at me.
I didn't, because I don't like how you're talking.
I'm barely speaking.
Exactly. So, yeah, there was like different aspects of it that I thought were really interesting. The fact that I do think some of the like ads they come up with, I'm like, yeah, this actually would work. Like,
yeah, and I just want to put this out. There's definitely been waves of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Actual trends in marketing attempting things like this at least.
Yeah.
Like I remember 10 years ago it was like the new sincerity.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was more than 10, but like
yeah.
And then there was like I remember late 90s there was like once it was becoming sort of common knowledge that like the Gap used sweatshops or shit like that. There were ads where companies were almost owning it or almost bragging about it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, I think like the ad where they're like, plane crashes happen.
Mm-hmm.
Your fear of flying may be valid. There are always plenty of plane crashes and people die like crazy. But you should also know that more people arrive at their destinations alive on our flights than on many others. So if you have to fly us. United. Most of our passengers get there alive.
You should, it's less likely to happen with our company. I'm like, that would actually work in a lot of ways. Like, because a lot of people are afraid of that, and the people who are afraid of flying aren't oblivious. And if you're trying to market to people who are scared of flying, they're going to trust you more to be like, yeah, anybody that flies can,
I mean, it's still a lie.
Right. But that's one of the things that was like, when they're like, because sometimes Caucasian people are too tall or something like that. I'm like, that's not the truth.
I know, and that's the one they end on too.
And so stuff like that was like sort of confusing because it was like they went from being, because all his ads at the beginning were like, Porsche, because sometimes like a guy wants to have a car that where an attractive woman gives him a hand job or whatever. I don't know. And I'm like, that's so funny, and that's like definitely would work. But then it goes from that to being like, I don't know. It's just all this weird shit of like them just trying to sensationalize things in a different way.
Yep.
And I was like, this isn't truth though. That was like I think that was my biggest not biggest complaint, but like that was the most confusing part where I was like, but he's not okay. Now they're just trying to sensationalize it. That's not the truth. They're just trying to sensationalize, which is different than the truth. Mm-hmm. So that was it. That was in the Bahamas. That was good though. I was like, that one's good. That one is good. And the one he's like, a Porsche is too small to get laid in, but you'll get laid as soon as you get out of it. And I was like, that's good. That's like a good, like, that's the whole reason. And like, that's a good ad. I don't know. I think that was a good one.
I would like to read this.
Please.
It's a quote from Roger Ebert himself.
Yes. From Roger Ebert.
And so he's doing a little role play here.
Uh-oh.
So everything's in quotes. Excuse me, sir. Movie police here. Oh, no. Do you have a love story in this movie? Afraid not. There's no need for one. But who is the female lead? There isn't any. And the heartwarming romantic conclusion? Are you kidding? This is a cynical satire about advertising. And do you have a lot of lovable, huggable goofballs in supporting roles? Only the usual demented creative types who work in any ad agency. Then I'm afraid you'll have to come down to the studio with us. What you've done is against movie law! And then, this is out of quotes. Why do I get the feeling a scene like this was played out at some point early in the history of Crazy People? Because the two halves of the movie fit together so uneasily.
Oh my God.
Bring, bring.
Yeah. Hello, dummy police. The things I liked about, like, I kind of liked how it ended, where, you know, I mean, I think the Daryl Hannah character was actually more interesting than I expected her to be.
Yes.
Because she was the stuff that she was saying, I was like, this is actually really interesting, because she was like, I think you need to understand that, like, I've been in here for long enough that I'm not sure about my own reality.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wow. And
Yeah.
I think that's like such a, even for this movie, I'm like, that's actually like a really, like, she played that. I kind of credit it to Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
But she played it so sincerely, and I felt so, like, I was so drawn to her, especially in that scene where she was, like, so confused.
Right.
And he kept being like, because the whole, Daryl Hannah's, like, her parents died and her brother got adopted, like, her and her brother got split up.
Yeah.
And it made her go crazy. And then she was like, she basically has been institutionalized since she was a kid or a teenager or something like that. And
They don't actually say an age, do they?
they don't, I don't think so. But then she keeps saying how her brother's in the army and he's going to come get her. And when he comes get her, when he comes to get her, she'll leave. And then, you know, like, through lots of things, like, the head of the institution or whatever is sort of corrupted by the ad agency that's coming in and using.
Sort of.
But, well, I don't want to say he's corrupted, because he seems not on their side to begin with.
Oh, right.
So he's not like, he's just kind of an asshole, and they come in and they utilize that.
Definitely in bed with
Right.
JT Walsh.
But I don't want to say they totally flip him, because he's just an asshole.
He's an unknown because he only shows up.
He shows up after
everything is underway.
And then, and Mercedes rule. She
Methodist is what I heard.
I like her character a lot, and she's, you know, it's Mercedes rule. So what are you gonna do? Not like something that she's in?
No. Rafa's mom.
Yeah, I know, Mama Rafa. But he, you know, the head of the hospital ends up firing her because she's trying to advocate for her patients and support them.
Well, specifically, she's ready to release.
And yes, and
Daryl Hannah's character.
Daryl Hannah's character, because she's come to a point in her life where she's actually considering leaving without her brother. Like, she's and so the hospital director gets pissed and he fires her, and he won't let her leave.
Well, because he's already made an agreement with JT Walsh that they're gonna get rid of Dudley Moore's character and keep employing the rest of this crew without
and that's kind of the,
which is actually the real brilliance of the movie in my mind, is the corporate.
Right, I was gonna say, like, the thing where they're, like, utilizing they're basically like getting around. Like it's a very interesting thing. I think that, like you said, this is the most interesting part of it, was they're basically like using these people, but like to get around like any, like they don't want to have to,
contractors.
yeah, they're not paying them to do this work. And it's like considered like a part of their rehabilitation that they're doing this work. So they're not getting anything. And they don't care about it because they just like doing it at first. But then the ad agency like guy takes credit for everyone else's work. Like everything Dudley Moore's done, everything all the people in the hospital have done. And there's like 8 people involved or something like that. I don't know. And so he's just taking all the credit, saying he came up with all these ideas. It was his, he was just brilliant, whatever. And Dudley Moore's like, this is, you guys deserve something. And they're just like, I don't want to go back to the way things were before. I just like how things are. And I think I was like, this is so good. They're like, don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is exactly how they get you, because if they take you from nothing and all they have to do is give you a taste, and then if you say I want more, or like I want to get what I'm owed, they're going to take, they hold that over your head. They will take it from you. Yeah. So like they take it from them, and then they can't come up with anything on their own, so they get them all cars because they're trying not to pay them. That's the main thing. They don't want to pay them. So they have to find ways to gift them things so that they can't be considered employees because they're in a mental hospital and they're like, this could, whatever. Yeah. Because whatever. So that part I was like, whoa, like that stuff was like fascinating to me. But
and then when it's like they're gonna try to contract them individually. Yeah, that was the part I was like, oh shit, this is really genius.
They're trying to pit them all against each other. They're like, so they'll make better and better content. But I think that's so funny because that's exactly, they're like, it's such a, like, despite the fact that it's like a ridiculously made, like, silly movie about like crazy people, aren't they? Kooky. Mm-hmm. The things it does, it really does highlight sort of like how when you take neurodivergent people and you try to make them operate in a way that you think like real world neurotypical people operate well, it will not work, because that's not like, they're coming up with different ideas, not because they're better at this, but because they see it differently. So you can't come at them
outside of
And so, like, it's such an interesting way to be like, we're going to treat them like we treat everybody else, and how that backfires in the way that's like, it's, for them, it's not about money. For them, it's about they're enjoying being able to be productive. And that's the thing that they keep saying. They're like, we're part of something. We love being part of something. Right. We love being able to, like, not have to do art therapy. But they're like able to engage with each other, and it helps them. And I think, like, it's a really, like, interesting thing. And I kept thinking about, like, Goodwill, how people, like, talk about how Goodwill, employs people. I don't know how true that is, because I know people that work for Goodwill who are not, like, disabled. Like,
oh, sure.
So I don't, like, they always act like, well, the implication.
I think they just pay them less.
But is that, can that I don't know, though. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I
don't
think it's
know
perfectly legal.
Okay. Why? I don't understand. That's so weird to me.
Ask Imani Burboni. What is it?
Barberin, I think?
Barberin.
Crutches and spice. You can just say crutches and spice. But I don't know.
I didn't mean to say it wrong. I thought I was.
You were like, check this out. Boober.
Hey, Boober.
And Mamba Boober.
Do a lady.
Do a lady. Anyway. So, like, the director ends up, like, the director of the hospital ends up, like, convincing Dudley Moore that, like, Daryl Hannah's character has made up her brother. Right. He's not real. She made him up. This is a ruse.
Well, he also plays on, like, you're not the first
you're
one.
Not,
she's taken
you're not
to
special.
Our special place.
Yeah, you're not special. She does this thing on it for it. To every guy she meets, you're just another one in a long line. And so he, like, asks her, I think he asks her if she, like, if she wrote the letters herself, and she's like, I don't believe that I have.
Right.
And he's like, what does that mean? And like the whole conversation is super, super interesting. I kind of wish you could put the whole thing in, but don't do that to people. Because it's like 10 minutes long. But it's like, it's this back and forth of her being like, I'm in a like mental hospital for a reason, you know, and him being like, I need you to tell me the truth. And she's like, I've not been lying. Like, why are you treating me like I'm lying to you?
I actually like my favorite part about the scene is that it ends with her saying, don't look at me like I've lied to you. And then he walks off.
Yes. Right. And it's like, that's the thing that like, and she says like, you have to understand that after being in here for so many years, there are things that I don't, like, I don't know, I don't always know what's real.
Right.
Hoping and believing is not lying. You said you cared for me, but if you care for somebody, you trust them. They confused me here, and anybody who commits to me is going to have to realize that.
And I think that that's like absolutely fair because like, I mean, I've never been in a hospital. I've just heard horror stories from other people, but like, if you don't...
well, you've been in a hospital, just not a mental institution.
Well, yeah. Well, I've never been in a hospital for more than a few hours. I've never stayed overnight in a hospital or anything like that. I've never had a stay in a hospital of any kind. And...
You're messing up.
So, like... But, like, there is this, you know, when you have different doctors telling you different things... And, like, I had a doctor convince me that I was bipolar. And I was like, okay, I guess. And then they made me have a psychotic break because of the meds they gave me, which made me hallucinate. It was a horrible experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, it was hard for me to, like, I mean, this is, like, embarrassing to admit, but it was hard for me to, like, I'm like, well, they're saying that this is what's wrong with me, so I have to, like... fix that. But like it took like sort of a minute of me like not being able to function at all. Like not being able to function like I was groggy or whatever, but like literally like I couldn't get through the day without like screaming and like freaking out and like seeing things. It was absolutely horrible. And
shout out to Rosecrans.
Oh yeah. And so, and like, it was just like this horrible experience. And they basically told me that this was the only option for me. So I had to like cold turkey off like dangerous meds, which is horrible and bad and you shouldn't do it. But like, you know, I mean, I didn't fully cold turkey. I weaned myself off, but like.
Cold wean.
Yeah, I cold weaned. But like, I didn't have anything to, you know, I went from being, medicated crazy to just normal crazy. So like, you know, so like I understood what she was saying when she's like, you know, because if you have different doctors, if you have different regimens, if you have had different types of people telling you different things over the years, you're not always going to be confident. Like, especially not if she's been here. None of her adult life has been out in the real world. She's not going to be able to function normally.
She doesn't have any agency.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And like especially the part where she's talking to him and she's like, I'd like to leave. But then she starts going over all the things that she's like, I'll have to like change my address, which means that I'll have to talk to a postal worker. And then all this night, I was like, oh my God. Also, I do want to mention Daryl Hannah is autistic. She was diagnosed as a kid.
Did you double check that?
I didn't double check it, no. But because
source.
Because I read this thing where I think she said like she would do the rocking back and forth as a kid to stim, and she still does that sometimes as an adult. Yeah. Oh wow. But yeah. Anyway.
Oh shit. Born in Chicago.
Oh shit. I actually did not know that. So he leaves and he's like convinced himself that she's just crazy and is lying about all this stuff. But he finds out that her brother's real, Like, she didn't make what?
She has said that she was very shy growing up. As a young child, Hannah was emotionally isolated and struggled in school. She was subsequently diagnosed with autism, and medical professionals urged her parents to have her institutionalized and medicated. Instead, her mother decided to relocate with Hannah temporarily to Jamaica in hopes that the change in environment would help her daughter.
Wow. But yeah. So I do kind of credit that to being why she
absolutely.
does this so well and why she seems so. And I think this could be why if people don't like her performance in this, it would be because of that. Because she's not playing it like she's crazy. She's playing it like she's completely normal.
Right.
And that's interesting. But anyway.
Yeah.
Once Dudley Moore's character finds out that she's telling the truth, what I liked about it, because I was like, oh shit, like her brother literally comes to her in the hospital. Like he brings her brother to her in the hospital to like apologize. But he brings her doctor too.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I was like, oh, this is good because he's not saying, I expect you to function normally in life. He's saying, I brought the most helpful doctor you've ever had.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And I've brought someone so that you can transition to this with help. And that's how I took it. And I was like, I love this. And that's what, like, I think if it was just her brother, I'd be like, oh, that's cute, whatever. You know, okay, that's nice. He's apologizing. He brought her fucking doctor. He brought the doctor that got fired because she was advocating for her patients.
Yeah, right.
I was like, but she was all of their doctors.
Right.
And he takes all of them out of the hospital. I mean, you know, I doubt he could, but whatever. Like, I just was like, okay, I like that because they're not implying that he is the authority over all of them, or he can decide for them.
Right.
He's taking a literal medical professional who has been supportive of all of these people, rehabilitating and being able to be functional members of society in whatever way they can. He's bringing her along in the journey. And that's when I was like, okay, this is actually kind of saying something. Like, because they're not saying they're not crazy. They don't need help. It's saying the help that they need might not be the help they've been getting.
Right.
And that I was like, oh man, this ending is kind of, that was me.
Wow. My God, that was terrifying. I had just bumped my mic, so I thought I had... It sounded like an electrical crack to me.
It did.
Jesus. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I'm so jumpy.
It's okay. Jumpy. What's that? Which episode is that from?
That's
Oh, the blimp.
Gestalt.
Okay. No, you're right. Yeah.
Because it's what's his name? I want to say Schmaltz, but that's Gerhard Schmaltz. That's
Conrad. No, Conrad. Yeah. Oh no.
Oh my God, Conrad is the.
Yeah. Oh my God, we've seen Archer so many times.
It's been a minute though, so
I know we haven't watched it.
It's literally been 30 seconds since we watched Archer, but
yeah. Well, we haven't watched it at all since we re-upped our. It's been like at least 2 months.
Oh yeah,
since we watched it.
Fair enough.
Which is crazy. That's crazy for us.
Venture Bros too.
Oh, I know, but that's because it's not anywhere we can stream it.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we don't have HBO anymore, but I think even so, they took it off of streaming. I think. But yeah.
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So the writer was originally asked to direct. Mm-hmm. Shortly after production started, they canned him. And
they said, "What are you, crazy?"
And also, it was originally John Malkovich instead of Dudley Moore and Michelle Pfeiffer instead of Daryl Hannah.
I honestly just trying to imagine John Malkovich. I'm like, what the fuck would this movie have been? Insane.
Yeah. So when they switched directors, they sacked, or Malkovich walked, and then Michelle
Pfeiffer walked. Because I
went
guess
with
they
him.
were together.
I guess they were dating, yeah. Gross.
That was wild.
But also, imagining Michelle Pfeiffer in that. Dudley Moore is not good. He's not.
Everyone else... the
I mean,
movie's interesting.
It only
despite
works
him.
because of how people shine around.
That's what
It's
I'm
one of
saying.
those.
It works despite him, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily a detriment to the movie.
But you can't say it for sure.
Right.
Fucking Paul Reiser's in it. That was the thing. That was Paul Reiser and Dudley Moore. No chemistry. I didn't believe that they liked each other at all.
No.
Not to say
I don't
that
believe Dudley Moore knew who anyone was at any point. He's just reading lines is what it felt like. I don't know. I kept thinking about somebody like Bob Hoskins just because of English.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins would have been ridiculous.
Nuts.
All right.
It's so funny to going back and watching Long Good Friday and Mona Lisa that he was like this gritty crime actor compared to what he did once he was in Hollywood movies, which was all mostly comical.
Really?
Well, I mean, like...
He was in Unleashed.
That's true.
He was,
That was a little bit later, though. I'm just thinking of, like, Roger Rabbit and Mermaids.
yeah, but he was still a gritty crime guy.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
Wasn't he Mario?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we got to do that for the pod.
Roger Rabbit, too. I've never seen Roger Rabbit. Robert Rabbit. Or Dick Tracy.
I don't know if I've... I think I've seen... That was so...
We should do Truth or Dare.
What is that? What is Truth or Dare?
The Madonna movie that's like...
Oh, is that the documentary?
Part documentary, yeah.
I don't know.
I've never seen
I don't know
it.
if we could...
And then the Julie Brown parody called Medusa.
I'd watch that.
I think Julie Brown is... I think it probably peaked with Earth Girls Are Easy. She has a YouTube channel, by the way.
Have you watched it?
I tried.
Wait, like an active? Mm-hmm. Like she can...
Like she does it, I think it's kind of a podcast format, but she does it in character.
No, thank you.
Yeah, not really.
Do it, lady.
Don't do it, lady. Oh, I
Do
had some
what?
other thoughts.
All of
it. At once. It's your birthday.
I introduced Keith to Chit from TikTok. So.
Yeah, the Do It Lady one is the best one. I don't like how many things still use the Office format. And
That's fair.
And that's totally 100% doing it.
I think Linda, I think she's so pretty.
Who's Linda?
The black girl.
Oh, in those. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like...
What? What happened?
Just thinking about Chit.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking about Chip. His fucking hair is really what does it for me.
He just makes me think that they're riffing on that Icelandic, or maybe it's Finnish, MP or whatever with the box.
God, I do love when like,
I mean, Chit's haircut is what I had as like an 8-year-old. So
yeah, but that's understandable to have that haircut as an 8-year-old in 1982.
there was a minute where I had
Keith was 7 in 1982.
What?
Nothing.
You son of a bitch. I gotta bring that back. I had a little minute where I was just saying you son of a bitch. For no reason, like people do in movies. And it was really fun for me. I don't think it was fun for Z, but... You son of a bitch.
Well, it's...
But I had a second when I was like 20 where the first wife gave me a literal bowl cut, where it was just like,
Yeah.
and then shaved on the sides and bleached.
Yeah. Hot. I think when I was 20, I had my first bowl cut, too.
Maybe it's time to bring it back.
Fuck you.
The only time you get close to the mic is so you can whisper things that I won't hear until I'm editing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I wasn't trying
Thanks.
to whisper.
My job.
I wasn't trying to whisper
Easy.
that. I was trying. It's just hard to sing.
Yeah. Choke on that, PB. Fucking Christ. Z loves talking with their mouth full and acting as though it's intelligible. Like, I don't care about the manners of it, It's just, why do you expect I can understand anything you're saying?
I don't have an answer for you.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised.
I don't know why I do it. It's very much about urgency for me.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta get this out.
I
gotta
relate
get
to that. Yeah.
I know my mouth is full, but you need to know this. And it's usually when I'm saying a fact or something that no one cares about except me. I'm like, this episode of Voyager. No one gives a shit.
No sci-fi in this episode at all.
Fucking. So.
Whoa. Fuck.
No, I know.
Oh, I have to cop to, I was completely wrong. No Schiavelli at all.
No
I
Schiavelli.
just imagined him. I guess it was David Paymer I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Who is amazing in this movie.
For sure.
I think this is my first thing that I remember him from.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well,
even though clearly I didn't
I was
remember
gonna say,
it was him.
well, I would say you remembered him. Right. You remembered him.
Hello, hello. I mean, could Emery have a point? Hello, how's it hanging?
Remember how he's in, let's see, things
Picard.
we watched. What?
Picard.
Yeah, he's Picard's therapist, right? Or is he just his doctor?
Doctor or friend or something? Yeah.
But for the pod-wise, I was thinking Perfect. Remember, he works at Rolling Stone. He's in like 2 scenes.
I didn't remember that.
Night of the Creeps.
Who is he in that?
He's just like a doctor.
Oh my god, I didn't remember.
Yeah. Oh, fucking. That's the thing. He's one of those guys that shows up. He's so good. I was convinced, I just assumed for a long time that he was part of Second City. Mm-hmm. Because, or like SCTV crew, because like.
He's weird.
He's weird looking, and he kind of reminds me of Joe Flaherty, R.I.P. But
yeah,
who was the dad on Freaks and Geeks and the pilot in Club Paradise, and he's also in One Crazy Summer. He's the like militant dad of the one character.
Yeah. It took me that long to remember what One Crazy Summer was. Sure. I was like, bleh.
Yeah, what I remembered about this was, the thing you said like 30 seconds into the... First of all, Z puzzled out the plot 30 seconds in, shockingly. And you also said, like, I bet as a kid this was hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Because he takes some guy's phone.
Yeah. His car phone and just throws it into the... Yeah. And I can imagine at being 11 and, like, pissing my pants at that. Like, I told you this. I'm sure you remember because I told you this, like, 10 years ago. Okay. Yeah. The first time I watched the Flintstones movie, it was, off of TV. I was crying, laughing. It's not a good movie. It's not funny at all. I tried to rewatch it as an adult because of how... We tried to rewatch it like a year ago. Yeah. And because... for some reason, this was the funniest fucking thing. I, was literally sobbing laughing at this. The kid throws the paper, and it's just... Stone. It's a stone tablet. And so it hits the grass, and then it sinks down. For some reason, as a kid, I was like, brilliant. Yeah. And it has to do with
with somebody throwing something, it's always going to be funny. Like you threw something and then something unexpected happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Especially as a kid, you're like, you just threw something. Fucking like, what? That's like the only thing you have the like ability to do as a fucking child is like throw. Like, so you're like, I get it. You threw it. Like, you know.
Also, it's forbidden though.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You can't throw something unless it's officially labeled as play, and then you'll probably get in trouble. Anyway,
What are you frowning at?
fucking Colo Guard threatening me. You have 5 days to comply.
Oh God, really? It's 5 days again.
It's also bullshit.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Guys, you ever poop into a canister and then put it in the mail and then them tell you, nope, you did it wrong?
You didn't poop right. Can you imagine? Like, that's who wants that job? Like,
No one.
I want to. Not only do I want to examine people's poop, but I want to be like, you didn't poop right. What? No, thank you.
Well, it was I think it was just too old because I
Yeah.
tried to schedule a pickup
Yeah.
and then that didn't happen. So
You did leave it
sat
out for a while. Poop sat.
Anyhow, what's our time?
Would you recommend?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay.
I think
It's
yeah,
okay.
if you like 90s ridiculous comedies, you'll have fun with this. If you like,
It's clunky. You know? It's
Yeah.
not, I mean,
I think the
it's got
worst
some strengths that I would not,
the worst part in the movie, it was so unexpected.
Okay.
We both just like for some reason when something is shocking to us, we like reach our hands out
yeah.
and we both reached our hands out,
like-
but we reached in the same direction. So Keith just put his hand, like we both just put our hands to the right, and no one was on Keith's right, so he just put his hands out. But they're
Roman
trying,
salute.
they're trying to like come up with ideas on their own. Like they're like say something about
Oh God, yes, I totally blocked that out.
and the boss guy,
the ad agency people,
yeah, they fire all the crazy
after they
people.
fired,
Yeah. He's like, he's trying to get people to like come
Paul
up with
Reiser.
something. No, it's not Paul Reiser.
Okay.
It's JT Walsh.
Okay.
Is like, he's trying to get everybody to come up with something, and everybody's just saying dumb shit.
Right.
Everybody's like, this is shampoo. And he's like, that's not, you're missing, And then he like puts his hands on one guy's shoulder and he's like, say something completely unhinged and like shocking.
I don't think that's the prompt.
Yeah, but it's something like that. He's like, just say something.
Brutally honest or
Yeah.
something.
And the guy just says, I like little boys. And Keith and I were both like, what? And everybody's like laughing at him. And I'm like, and he doesn't get fired immediately or reported to the police. And it's just a
Or
joke.
sent to a mental health institution.
I'm like, what? That was the only thing in the movie that I was like, it. Like, I know that, like, I'm like, I think what they were trying to do, I don't know. This is just an assumption.
All right.
Was like they're trying to do the shocking thing because that they have the movie preview that's like
The movie within the movie.
The movie like ad that he creates that just says it'll fuck you up
For life.
it'll fuck you up for life. That part was so funny to me where he's like, how the fuck did the word fuck get in the fucking New York Times?
There's a lot of F-bombs in this movie.
Which is also something that I imagine felt good to watch as a kid.
Absolutely.
But also that would have been
I mean, to be clear, I wasn't a child when I watched that.
you were
I probably would have
11
been
and a
in high
half,
school.
13.
I didn't
at
watch
most.
it in the theater.
I said you were 11 and a half, 13 at most. I don't think it would have been in the theater at those times because it came out in 1990. 11 and a half would have been 1990.
80.
1992.
80.
January 1992.
11?
Yeah, because 91 you'd turn 11 in 1991. Because you turned 10 in 1990, and 11 in 1991 you turned. Wait.
Nope. Couldn't tell if you were doing a bit or just bad at math.
This is where my math can get bad.
You forgot to add 5.
I forgot when you were born.
That's where your math gets bad. You just forgot my birth year.
Because 90, don't do it. Don't do it. I was doing this. I was adding the difference in our age. And not, that's,
okay.
I always think, whatever. And this is a thing that'll happen. If it's like from like 85 to 95 is 10 years. So I'll be
85
like,
to 95?
that's the 10 years.
Okay.
You were 10 in 1985. I was 10 in 1995.
Okay.
That's our difference. So in that time,
Don't start with our birth years for some reason.
I said 80. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. In 85, you were 10. In 95, I was 10.
Born.
So for some reason, in that gap, I think you were 10. I don't know why. I'm not saying that that's math, but I forget that like you were 10 years older than me, not
Oh, that I wasn't 10 years old for
10 years.
the decade it took you to get to 10?
Yes.
Okay. I see.
That's what my brain, I don't know why it does that.
I see.
But that's how I'm like 10. Our difference is 10, so it keeps us 10. No. Movie 1 done.
We wanted done. I'm glad I chose this one first to do first because sure. You go ahead and cut it.
No, I never know what you're doing. I'm never sure.
Likewise, I'm sure.
Hello, hello, hello. What a wonderful word. Hello, 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 hello. You can hear it wherever you go. A stranger in a strange place can't be nearer. But when you hear the hello song, it's dearer.